Guys, we got a lot of company!
Hello and welcome back to another episode of X-Wing Miniatures Theorycrafting with Genghis John. On this episode we are going to look at the Epsilon leader Muse, functioning as the Bard of the First Order, giving her squad mates relief from the stress of battle. There are not many ships in this faction that directly help or benefit friendlies in any way. So in this respect, Muse is pretty unique to the First Order. Let's look at the TIE FO chassis real quick. 2 attack die, 3 agility, 3 hull, but the bonus of a shield. And this is a big time addition to the TIE fighter because they survive just a little bit longer. TIE FOs, if the green dice are good, or even if they're decent, they can hang around for a while and cause problems. Just like their Imperial counterparts, they have focus, evade, barrel actions, but they also have a target lock. As far as upgrades go, modification and tech upgrade in Muse also has an elite pilot talent despite only being an Initiative 2 pilot. The dial is excellent. You've got 2 more blue maneuvers than the Imperial TIE, the 2 hards, and it also has the 2 sloops, which I think are a really great maneuver. So Muse's ability. At the start of the engagement phase, you may choose a friendly ship at range 0 to 1. If you do, that ship removes 1 stress token. By activating at the start of the engagement phase, you open up the dial for the next turn. You could do red maneuvers in consecutive turns if you use Muse's ability. Now, her range is only 0 to 1, so it could be with a friendly ship nearby, but it also works on herself. So at the very least, with Muse, you have a TIE fighter who can do red maneuvers for every maneuver and just not care. But her ability also makes her a great support ship for FO pilots who don't want to be stressed. So there's really only 2 upgrades that I want to talk about with Muse. Everyone is familiar with Fanatical, of course. It is one of 2 faction unique upgrades. The lesser known of the 2 is Proud Tradition, and I probably wouldn't put Proud Tradition on any other First Order pilot except for Muse. So Proud Tradition reads, Setup, equip this side face up. While you have 2 or fewer stress tokens, you may perform focus actions, even while stressed. After you perform an attack, if you are stressed, the defender may spend 1 focus token or suffer 1 crit damage to flip this card. This is the perfect EPT pairing for Muse, who just sheds stress like it's nothing. Do red maneuvers, and then be able to take a focus action on top of it. That's amazing. It's basically the same thing as Pattern Analyzer, except you're, of course, limited to the focus action. But whatever, right? It's 2 points. There is literally no consequence for Muse to do a red maneuver. You do a red maneuver, you get your focus action, you remove the stress at the beginning of the next phase. It's awesome. You could even do a red maneuver over a debris cloud. Still get your focus, still remove 1 of those stress tokens at the beginning of the engagement phase. As far as the second part of Proud Tradition, On Muse, you're getting rid of stress tokens, so there's no consequence for Muse to be equipped with false tradition, and an opponent has to pay a cost to flip proud tradition to false tradition at the cost of a focus token, which isn't that big of a deal, right? A crit, though, to flip that card, that is a steep price to pay. And I think with Muse being at an initiative 2, which is pretty low, is when she's attacking, her target has likely spent a focus on either an attack or defending from another attack. So to make Muse's proud tradition false, your opponent's likely going to have to suffer crit damage, and they're just not going to want to do that. So Muse gets to keep proud tradition all game and can do red maneuvers and get a focus action. That is very strong. Another upgrade that I think deserves consideration on Muse, and I haven't seen anyone else do this, is to equip her with Squad Leader. So Squad Leader adds a red coordinate and reads, while you coordinate, the ship you choose can perform an action only if that action is also on your action bar. So why Squad Leader on Muse? The synergy between the red coordinate and Muse shedding stress is obvious, right? But the First Order has only one ship that can naturally coordinate as it is, and that is the Epsilon shuttle. And that is quite a pricey ship to be just a coordinate vessel. So Muse gives you a very cheap coordinate boat, basically. I believe it's the cheapest in the game at 36 points. But there are so many FO pilots who want double mods going into combat, and that's what this faction is lacking, is action economy. Midnight wants a focus or an evade to go with that target lock to shut down her target's mods. Quick Draw wants a target lock and a focus token to make the most of 2 attacks, right? So Muse is a great coordinating ship. So on the theme of Squad Leader Muse, again, the faction has several pilots who really want multiple actions but don't have access to it naturally, mainly Midnight and Quick Draw. So in this list, we have 2 coordinating ships. They can each coordinate Midnight and Quick Draw. So the 2 heavy hitters in this, 2 of the 3 heavy hitters in this list are going into battle with double mods. And if the opponent chooses to shoot at Tavsin instead of Midnight or instead of Quick Draw, then that's 3 ships in this list that can have double attack mods. That's just awesome. Midnight can completely shut down your opponent's ace. Quick Draw just has a potential to deal so much damage, and the same thing with Tavsin throwing 4 dice primary attack. So Quick Draw in this list is very skinny. We just have Fanatical and Special Forces Gunner. Midnight is naked. Tavsin, we put Biohexacrypt codes. I think this is a phenomenal upgrade in the game. It requires a target lock, and it's First Order only, and it reads, while you coordinate or jam, if you have a lock on a ship, you may spend that lock to choose that ship, ignoring range restrictions. So naturally, coordinate is limited to range, I think 0 to 2. It might be 1 to 2, but I think it's 0 to 2. But now Biohexacrypt codes you can coordinate across the map, which is awesome. You don't necessarily have to keep all of your ships in this big cluster. You can spread them out. You can fly one of them out on your own and give them an extra action to deliver a crushing flanking attack. Muse, however, you're going to want to fly close to someone because of the range restriction of a natural coordinate. But basically, what this list does, it gives you 3 ships that can have double mods when they attack. So the most popular use of Muse is as a wingmate for an Epsilon shuttle with pattern analyzer and can essentially just stop for infinity with no consequences. So you usually have Muse with Tavson, and Tavson's got pattern analyzer, so before Tavson stops, he's going to snag a focus action or something like that, and then beginning of engagement phase, Muse is going to pull that stress off, and after Tavson gets shot, takes a couple damage, grabs his attack mods, and then can shoot fully loaded. Biohexacrypt codes is just too good at only 1 point. Gives you, again, more flexibility with either the coordinate or jam. But then we just have some other really good TIE-FO fighters buzzing around. Scorch is popular with Fanatical. Scorch also really works good with Muse. Muse can pull a stress off of Scorch if Scorch did a red maneuver, so that Scorch can get his 3 dice attack. Long shot with trick shot. You know, if you catch an enemy range 3 through an obstacle, suddenly you've got a TIE-FO that's throwing 4 red dice. And then Lieutenant Rivas is just solid at 27. Tafson's probably going to grab a target lock with one of his actions, so then Rivas gets a target lock to shoot the target after. It's just really good. You've got a 4 dice attack and 2 other at least 3 dice attacks with Scorch and Longshot, and then Rivas probably has a double modded shot. So Muse is just fits in with this list really well, lets Tavson stop or perform other red maneuvers whenever he wants, helps Scorch out as well. And then you'll notice on this list with Muse we have Fanatical, simply because if Muse is flying next to Tavson, your opponent is most certainly going to shoot at Muse before Tavson. So at least if they do shoot at Muse and take off a shield token when Muse shoots back, he'll get that one soft offensive mod, change one focus result to a hit result. So the last list, kind of thematic, we just have a bunch of the Epsilons, Epsilon Leader, Muse, Null, Epsilon Ace, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 Epsilon Squadron Cadets with Lieutenant Rivas again, who's also Initiative 1. Muse probably isn't going to be in the assisting role so much as in just being your best ship on the board, with being able to do red maneuvers, clearing that stress, getting a focus action. Advanced optics is going to give a little more flexibility with that focus token. Can use it to change blanks into hits while attacking. Null, when not damaged, he's the ace at Initiative 7. When he is damaged, he's the ultimate blocker at 0. Like the Proud Tradition Advanced Optics combo on Muse, again, if you have the points for it, normally I don't like Advanced Optics too much, but being able to get a focus token while stressed and then Advanced Optics just allows for more flexibility with that red token. So if you're into just the overwhelming numbers swarm, I think this is a good way to do that with Muse. That is all I have on Muse. Muse's abilities pretty self-explanatory. Muse is also a pretty popular ship in the faction. Hopefully, from this video, you've gotten some ideas on unconventional ways to run her. Tell me about Muse builds and lists that you like to run. Fly Muse with Squad Leader, Flyer with Proud Tradition. Tell me how that goes in the comments. Thanks again for joining me on this episode, and I will see you next time on X-Wing Miniatures Theory Crafting with Genghis John.